Hey guys, it's Beth here with Aging Care Solutions, offering experienced professional guidance and real life caregiving experience, as well as a whole lot of life lessons. So today's topic, I did this video once and I realized I was I was whining the whole time. I was like, I don't feel good. I gotta move. Blah blah blah. I'm doing it all by myself. And the point should have been, and I should have gotten to it a lot sooner, was that my problem solving skills are so heightened and so honed in that even while I've been sick for a month and a half, I have been able to not only sell most of the belongings in this house, and I'm only keeping what I really, really need because I'm changing my whole vibe when I do move. But I have kicked butt with this move. I mean, this house was packed, 4 bedrooms, 4 baths, a lot of closets, and a lot of stuff. And so I just feel really, really proud of myself. I even said it last night. I'm like, why aren't you celebrating that you are finally getting out from this albatross and that you are now on a path towards just fun and a new chapter of experiencing life. And I'm really looking forward to it. But I do understand why people decide that it's challenging for them to move. I mean, I don't know. All I can say is thank God I have a sound mind and I can talk myself through stuff, and between walking and really just focusing on, well, I wish I was getting better sleep. I would say that, but I am not. The closer I get to being without an address for probably 2 months, I'm going to be traveling until I make my way to where I'm going. So anyway, enough about me. Let's talk about you and why it's important to consider being a real problem solver. And this is just a practical skill that all of us over time, and you may have been in your earlier years, especially if you were juggling children and or everything that comes with running a successful household, something that runs smoothly. I mean, when you're even just planning grocery shopping, meal planning, making sure that everyone's appointments and practices and sporting events and all these things are organized, and then that leaves little time, I guess, for us in managing our own things. But really becoming a good practical problem solver is a lifeline to independence, right? It creates confidence, gives you purpose. And that's why cultivating and maintaining this ability, especially as we start to age, is something that can be a real helpful strategy and skill for you. So one of the things when I was doing my research, and really this is all just a lot of my thought process on all of it, is that it helps maintain a level of independence. So as we get older, I mean, there are going to be challenges for all of us. I mean, this is the perfect example. Getting bronchitis in the middle of this, like that's how run down I was. That's how bad my sleep has been. The closer I get to knowing, oh my God, I have a go date here, the more stressed I've gotten, the worse my sleep has gotten. So my health took a real hit, but it's better now. But things do start to happen. Our mobility, our finances, just different things start to arise over time. But the ability to assess a situation, find creative solutions for that, and then adapt as you go along. Nobody likes to move. I know for me, it's for anybody. It's a big, big change, right? So I really feel like I'm having to adapt, but I'm knowing that in the long run, I'm going to be more comfortable. I'm going to be happier. I'm going to be out from under a really large home that, the kids are off to college. So for me, it's like, it's too much. I don't need it. But I do see like aging in place somewhere that's a lot more manageable is going to make me more comfortable, right? So figuring out how to modify my home or create the safety that I would need going forward. And there's just a lot. It helps us having and being a problem solver. And one of the things I always do is I have my notepad. I always have notepads. I even have one because I journal too. it's more of a prayer type of thing. But at the same time, I have one that I do, at the end of my day. But throughout the day, not only am I getting ideas to share with you all and for myself, but I want to make sure that I don't forget. So, especially since I'm moving, things have been just all over the place. If I write it down, I come back to it, and then I have time to really start thinking about a certain topic. And what it has done, it has kept my mind sharp, right? So problem solving exercises my brain, it's promoting cognitive resilience, and it will for you too. And for you, like, depending on your age and your situation, like if you're like me, like not quite retired, but you're still working and managing family members, and you're in a different phase of life, staying mentally engaged through all these different challenges it's like learning a new skill, right? But different things, like I think just being and not challenging yourself, that's why I think anytime you can move your body, learn a new skill. I don't care if you're in a book club, if you're playing tennis or pickleball, or you're in a walking club, or you're even considering starting a different type of club, or just like a little friend group. This helps slow our cognitive decline, right? It's all of it really is helping us reduce any health challenges or potentially dementia. I mean, I have a real worry about it. A lot of people say, oh, it runs in my family, or diabetes runs in my family. No, it doesn't. Poor eating habits and chronic inflammation and, runs in the family. It's not necessarily that you're inheriting this. We've inherited what we learned as a kid, how to eat, and now that we're more stressed, I think our bodies really, they're challenged in many ways. So, but anyway, keeping your mind sharp by being a problem solver is going to help navigate new things. Like if you have to, budgeting for retirement, for instance, or medical concerns that you might have upcoming, even how to use technology. I mean, I really think that is definitely keeping my mind sharp. I'm actually due for a new phone, and I've sort of put it off because I feel like I've had this one 5 years, and now I know how to use it and every aspect of it. So I'm really hoping just to step up to the better version of it, so that all of the things that I already have mastered are still going to be there, right? But anyway, it stimulates our critical thinking, all these different things that we might participate in. So especially if you've worked, I mean, even if you haven't, I mean, it really doesn't matter, because if you're home working and you've raised a lot of children and you've been like the brains of the operation at home, there is a lot of organization skills that goes into that, and planning, and, really being present for everybody else. It's, it is a lot. But I think if you're doing both, working and managing the family and the house and all of the things that go along with that, oh my gosh. Again, being a problem solver, I think, is like a superpower. And it really is. And I think a lot of times people, especially as they get older, I tried not to take over a lot for my grandmother because she was so sharp. But there came a time when I realized, oh my gosh, she didn't tell me that her newspaper stopped. She didn't tell me her television wasn't working. And unbeknownst to me, my mother couldn't remember because she had dementia. So it was really, it was such an eye-opener when I finally stumbled into all of it and realized, oh my God, I need to be my grandmother's power of attorney. I've left my mother to make decisions on her behalf, and her assisted living is calling me, telling me that she's not remembering what's going on. Anyway, that's a whole other topic, and you can hear it in all of my other videos. But one of the things about problem solving, and this is what I was doing, I was problem solving remotely 6 hours from where they both lived at the time. Even small ones, it reinforces like a sense of control and capability. And I'm always somebody who wants things to run smoothly, because then it's one less thing that I would have to worry about. I inherited, speaking of things that you inherit from your family, is anxiety and worry. And you know what? I've decided, I even said the other day, I am not going to worry about anything. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to feed the energy into it. I'm not going to complain about stuff. Everything is right on time for wherever I am in my life, wherever you are in your life. I'm not going to stress about I should have, could have, would have. I'm not doing it anymore. I think if things are supposed to come together, it's because they are supposed to happen when they happen. But this confidence, right, can help older adults like us face future obstacles with less fear. So I encourage you, just don't try not to sweat the small stuff. You hear people talk about it, and I am now like making myself stop fearing every single challenge that comes up. Who cares? Moving, does it stink? Yes. Nobody wants to move. Nobody. But I know when I get settled and I get my cute little place and it's got all my new little things in it that I want to buy, I'm going to be happy because I've chosen happiness in my life. And I just feel like even when I get older, I'm hoping that I stay in this same space. Because I will tell you, over the years, I have met some very unhappy people. Not only was there this level of, well, and I think it's directly correlates to the loss that they've had, the circle of friends that they have, and their mindset. So, I talked to a friend of mine. I had a really nice lunch with a really good friend of mine who I adore. And she's just my buddy. I'm going to miss her when I move. I don't want to get emotional, but she's wonderful. And one of the things we had talked about, she was telling me a story about someone in her neighborhood that has been nothing but nasty to her. She has no idea. The woman is somehow associated with her homeowners association. And she just is really a very angry, unfriendly, scowly woman to not only her, but her children. So she's like, have you ever run into someone like this? I said, you bet I have. I mean, there's, some people just are not happy. And I just feel like you can pick up on it. You don't even have to have any type of a relationship with them. You can see it in the way that they look, how they look at you, how they address you, how they might address people that are with you. And, those people are unhappy. They're miserable. And so maybe what they need to really do is focus on, I don't know, being kinder and, maybe extending some niceties to other people around them. It just goes a long way. And I don't know how I got on that tangent, but it really reminded me of just how much our attitude can impact other people, really. But being a good problem solver, it's going to encourage purpose and meaning. Even helping others, right, solve their problems, especially if they're younger. Like, I used to go to my grandparents and my parents for advice on stuff. And, oh my God, I put my heart into this channel. And when I tell you about my family, I really get emotional because, well, they're all gone, number one. And number two, I miss a lot of them. I miss my parents. I miss having the guidance of I did not expect this. I did not expect this, and I'm sorry. But I do wear my heart on my sleeve when it comes to the impact that my family's had on me. And then my parents were my greatest cheerleaders. They really were. And in the end, of course, I took care of my mother. My dad died young, but they molded me into the woman that I am today. So I did have, and I do still have a deep sense of value and a love for what the previous generations had given me, which, made me very independent. I mean, I was somebody who, I lived with my parents for 2 years, my first 2 years in college, and then I moved like 850 miles from them. So I was a long way from home, but I felt like I had really good skills. And probably, a lot of it has to do with just a heightened sense of independence from the time I was a young kid, babysitting from the time I was 9 and then all the way till I was 18, looking after 4 children. It's crazy, but I did it and I loved every minute of it. But being a good problem solver, it helps this aging journey that we're on be one of growth and not decline, right? If we're looking at aging as like a passive decline in our health and our mental capacity and our abilities to do certain things, being a good problem solver is going to find new ways to kind of figure out life's puzzles and shift our mindset about it, because I say this all the time, but if you think you can, you can. If you think that you can't, you can't. And it really has a lot to do with our belief system. And the other thing is, I think fear holds us back. I mean, I've seen it in so many different ways, not only in relationships, but in careers. And for a long time, I held myself back for a lot of different reasons. Mostly, I just kept thinking, maybe I don't know enough about this specific industry, but the reality is, all of my skills for the last 30 years of business development, learning, I mean, I have learned different industries, and within months feel like I was really on a great road to becoming, having a master understanding of certain industries. So, over time I gained the confidence, but I do see that solving new kinds of life's puzzles can shift our mindset. Aging can become a real creative process, and it can make these latter stages of our life be more joyful, have more meaning, and way more manageable. So I encourage you to not only be a problem solver if you're looking for a new place to live, if you are needing assistance in your home, don't be afraid to reach out to a network of friends at church or people that have used other resources in the past and get referrals, and then do a little due diligence, do your own interviewing. Have people, a lot of these agencies, they give free assessments. We always did. I mean, I did. I talked to a lot of families, and then they weren't ready, or for one reason or another. But educating yourself about it, having people come in and describe and tell you, what to expect when you are looking for certain services so you can remain at home, is just another way to be prepared. And that way, it's not really a problem that you're solving. It's just one more thing that you've got on your list that you have educated yourself more about, and you feel good about it. And even finding new hobbies, managing, like if you have lifestyle changes that need to take place because maybe you can't do the stairs anymore, or creating new routines. I just feel like there's a time for all of this in our life, and problem solving isn't just for people who are still in the workplace, right? It's a lifelong skill that grows more meaningful as we age. And the more we use it, the more we're going to thrive. So I encourage you to do that. And please leave me a comment. Nobody leaves me comments, and I don't know why. Probably because maybe it's more of just me talking and giving you my experiences, but I would love to know where you're from. That was always one of the first questions that I would ask families, are you from this area? And a lot of times they'd say, oh no, we're from here, or we're from there. And I just always loved knowing, have I been there? What was my experience being in their state? So if you want to, you're welcome to leave me a comment and just tell me where you're from. And if you could subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. It's allowing me to continue to grow the channel and have this be eventually like a full-time gig for me, so that I can continue to I want to eventually bring guest speakers and do some other things, maybe even create a podcast out of this. I don't really know yet where I'm going to be guided to go with all of it. But in the meantime, I'm hoping that I'm being a good resource to you, and I wish you all the very best. And if there's any topics that you'd like me to talk about, please feel free to leave them in the comments. And I'll see you at the next video. Take care.